Episode 5 of the Fit Pro podcast. Just a quick word, listeners. If you are loving the podcast, head to fitpropodcast.com to check out more episodes, or head to Fit Pro Podcast on iTunes, subscribe, leave us a review. It means a hell of a lot, and enjoy this episode.
Anybody could effectively open a gym. It's the hard work starts when you open the door.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Fit Pro podcast. Today we have a very special guest all the way from Plymouth in the UK. His name is James Bodley. He is the owner, I'm going to call him the CEO of Total Rebuild Fitness and Strength. They specialize in kettlebell training and the more extreme side of group fitness. Are you ready to kill this, James?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Perfect, dude. Look, I absolutely relate to you and your journey in this fitness space, but a lot of people don't know you. So tell the listeners, what is your story? Where did you start in this industry?
Okay, so, I'd like to say I'm new to the industry. I'd say I've probably been working as a PT for coming up on 5 years. So by a lot of people's terms, that's fairly new. But I've been in fitness since as long as I can remember. You know, I was up in my bedroom at 12 years old, sort of watching Arnie films and doing bicep curls with my weight set in my bedroom. And, you know, it's always just been something that I've sort of moved towards, and I've always been interested in fitness. And, it's just sort of been the right path for me. Working as the PT, you know, when I first started, it started like everybody does. You know, you start in a gym or you start with small group classes, and then build it from there. My sort of story started with boot camps. I was just explaining prior, so I was living in Perth, doing a bit of travelling, and then got back to the UK and had the opportunity to work for somebody taking their group fitness classes, holding down a job at the same time. You know, I was working as a labourer in the day, doing the group fitness classes at night, and just stuck with that. Being in the UK, you know, we don't get the best of weather, so we had the conditions to work with all the way through the winter, and grueling, and it often felt like it was never going to sort of move forwards. But, you know, the persistence got me, I guess, to where I am now, which is me now running my own facility with my own staff, sort of giving them the workouts to do and working it that way.
Perfect, man. And what sort of advice would you give to people that are wanting to start out in a similar sort of field as you in the fitness space, and just let them know how you started the basically Total Rebuild in fitness? Where did you start it out of?
So my first bit of advice would be not to follow the crowd. You know, like be a fucking individual. There's so many people telling us the right way to do things in this industry now, and I've seen so many people follow that path and their name's forgotten before it's even started. You know, from the very start, I had my goal in mind, and it was always to make sure every workout that I put on, people were going to leave thinking, wow, that's like the hardest or best workout I've ever done. And, you know, that didn't make me an overnight success. That's taken years to sort of catch on. But people have always said, if you go to Total Rebuild, you're going to get that workout that's going to push you harder than anywhere else. So, yeah, you know, my advice to anybody starting would be pick something that you're passionate about. So for me, it was kettlebells, and it was training hard. And that was what I've always related to my clientele. You know, I've never pretended to be anybody else. And I think if you go down that route and you do things the way that you're told to do or how you should do it, you sort of you're gonna not burn yourself out, but you'll find yourself uninspired, if that makes sense. If I don't know if that did make sense or not.
It made perfect sense, dude.
Yeah.
And I think what you're trying to say as well is obviously be genuine to yourself.
Yeah,
Be self-aware. I mean, we all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses.
Yeah.
Play on more of your strengths, basically. And
play on your strengths. And I mean, if we're talking about weaknesses, the great thing about what we do is the amount of people we get to meet. And don't be scared to be vulnerable. I think a lot of the time, personal trainers sort of, for some reason, think they've got this title or this sort of, they feel like they're hierarchy because they're, teaching somebody how to do something. But that, it doesn't mean a great deal if I can do more press-ups than the person next to me. They can teach me a lot of things that, ultimately I don't know. So, that's a funny story. When I first got back to the UK, I went for 2 job interviews for a PT in a gym, and I got declined for both of them. So I didn't get the job. But both interviews were by like this sort of stereotypical, I hate to say it, but like that PT that you just don't want to meet, that is a bit of a know-it-all, bit of a,
Bit of a dickhead.
Bit of a dickhead, yeah. So, don't be a dickhead. Being a personal trainer doesn't mean you can be a dickhead. We're the same as everybody else, sort of thing.
I mean, it's the egos at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You get those PTs with big inflated egos, and it doesn't help anybody.
No, maybe in the 80s it worked when people were in spandex, but living in the real world now, people just like that genuine touch. They like to come and they like to have a laugh, and I'm honest with everybody. I'm like, yeah, I went out, I got shit-faced on the weekend. What did you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, being real.
Exactly.
Being real, being raw, just like this podcast is raw. We like to have, I like to have real people on the show. And one real quality about you, James, in the little bit of time that I have known you, you've started your own business from scratch.
Yes.
Now, people sometimes think like they keep putting it off until tomorrow, the next day. And they feel they have to be, to start, you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be perfect. I've just messed that up altogether. You don't have to be perfect to start, but you have to start to be perfect, basically. And like you told me something earlier. You told me that you started out of a van in a park.
That's right, man. Yeah. So, I mean, when I first landed back in the UK, I didn't have a penny to my name. I couldn't even afford a fridge. So I was living in a house, and I didn't have a fridge for 6 months.
The me goring diet.
Yeah, this was even before I had the van. I used to have a clapped out old Ford Mondeo that I used to chuck kettlebells and scrap tires in the back when I was doing the outdoor sessions. So, believe it or not, the van was an upgrade before that. But yeah, there never is a right time. If you've got the idea in your head and you're passionate about what you can do, then you'll be successful. You've just got to be persistent, and every time it gets hard, you've just got to say to yourself, what was the point if I give up now than going through all the hard times before this? There's never going to be a smooth sort of plain sail. It's never going to be sort of smooth forever. There's always going to be ups and there's going to be downs, but you use those challenges and you get stronger and you learn and you relate that to the business.
Absolutely, man. And I think one of the best examples of that would be you, but also the analogy that people need to be going by is jump out of that plane and then build a parachute on the way down.
That's
basically.
right, man. Yeah.
Use that pressure to push you. And for example, this podcast purely existed because I had an idea and I've gone, how do I even start it? Screw it, I'll start booking interviews and I'll figure it out on the way up. and it's been a ride, man, and the amount of the response. Like, you just meet people that are at that moment, just like yourself, James, where maybe it's time to sit down and reflect. And yeah, I'd love to jump on the podcast and just reflect and share some information with everybody. Yeah. Now, James, you run your own gym. You run your own business. Mm-hmm. Is that the main way you generate revenue today?
So, I mean, if we're talking about the gym, believe it or not, this gym was more necessity rather than choice. So I was quite comfortably, I was renting gym space off a martial arts club. And then I went in one day and he said that my gym rent was basically going to go from £250 a month to well over 700.
Jesus.
So I was like, shit, man, I'm not a dickhead. I'm not going to stay here for that. So then the race was on. I had 1 month to find a unit and turn it into a gym. I didn't have any money to my name still, really. I had hand-to-mouth sort of cash to live on, but I I applied for loans. I got declined business loans because I didn't have a business that was running long enough to show, credit. Yeah. So I had to go and get a personal loan, and my accountant was quite clever with me, really, to say what it was for, and I basically got approved for a 10 grand loan.
Was it for a holiday?
Well, yeah, it was for a holiday and a new car. So I got the 10 grand loan, and then I maxed out a couple of credit cards to get some Concept 2 rowers, and got the place up and running, which I thought was hard. That was the hardest month of my life, really. And then you open the door, and guess what? It's not as busy as what you thought it was going to be.
Crickets.
So yeah, it was lucky that I didn't spend the whole pot. I had a few months worth of rent money still left in that, which, that was lucky, because if I hadn't had that, Total Rebuild would have failed before it had even got off the ground. So yeah, I'd say my first 12 months down here, I was super focused on trying to get 100 gym members, which I did. I hit the 100 gym members, and
at the deadline or before the deadline?
It was sort of, I'd launched in November, and I'd hit the 100 member mark by September.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, definitely.
Good. I was pretty relentless with the marketing and everything, the social media.
What did you use the most, if you don't mind me asking, for your marketing?
For me personally now, it's always social media and it's video content. I very rarely do flyer drops or anything like that. I've done one recently, and the response I get from something like that, I can get the same with minimal effort with like a couple of quid boosted post on a Facebook video.
So your video content performs better than like your physical flyers and that
hands
sort
down.
of
Hands down, yeah.
And I think if people haven't caught on to that by now, they never will. But obviously, that's the way marketing's going. And I believe if you're a personal trainer and you aren't marketing on social media, you need to stop being a personal trainer, because you don't want to build a successful business, especially with video being the state. Like YouTube, man. YouTube is the biggest. It's the biggest video platform there is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to surpass TV in a few years. Netflix already does that, but like video content is the most engaging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And especially for personal trainers, man. We're visual. People like to see people doing work and working hard. Use video. Now, that's where you're at today. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time in terms of streams of revenue? What do you want to implement moving forward?
Okay, so again, this is a strange coincidence. This week, I've been working pretty hard for about the last 6 months. I've just created a new business, and I've called it Standout Workout Ideas.
Standout Workout Ideas.
Yeah, standoutworkoutideas.com. So basically, what I've done here, because every single session that I've ever done over the last 5 years, I've kept little journals, and I've collated what I feel to be my best ever workouts, whether that be in the park, whether that be my kettlebell sessions, my bodyweight specific, or my in-house gym sessions now. And I've collated all of these workouts into an ebook.
Oh, beautiful.
So I've got over 50 workouts in this ebook now with instructions. So what my intention for this is to, say to an instructor that's new into the industry, or even an instructor that's been in the industry a while and it's just like feeling a bit flat for ideas. Here's a book. Here's 50 workouts that I've used to go from out the back of my van to now running my very own gym and having my outdoor classes with 50 plus. And along with the drive and determination, this is it. I'm giving you the answer here. It's just these workouts of what have made me stand out amongst the rest and push me forward.
So you've basically found your niche, what works for you.
Yeah.
And then you've created these, I assume, ridiculous workouts that challenge people and get results. And that's a great idea, man. First and foremost, that is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I hope you market the shit out of that and get that return from that value, because you've just added like 50 workouts in an ebook is just massive value that people can just, again, create or help their business move forward.
Exactly, man. Yeah. Each one of these workouts can be chopped, changed, and altered in any way they see fit. Each workout's got their own sort of theme. So, you can do the workout and then you could say, right, okay, I think for my group's requirements or for my equipment list, I'm just going to tinker it here slightly. But, there's 50 ideas there. So, I mean, you know what it's like when you're looking at the clock and it's 5 minutes before the class is about to start and you're thinking, fuck, I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do here. Man,
yep.
I wish I had a resource like that when I first started out, because, every workout that you put on, you're going to get people walking away telling everyone else about how good it is.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think going back to, that's what I'm trying to sort of say to a lot of PTs, you sell a service and you sell a product, and that is what we do with the clients, If your workout's not good or if your session's not very good, then why is anybody going to go away saying you need to go and try that? You need to get people up and excited about it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, as a personal trainer, you owe it to your clients to keep them interested, keep them loving what you're doing with them. Look, if I've been through it as well when I was a brand new trainer, where you get the client in and you're just going through the motions.
Yeah, man.
You're just going through the motion, and it's boring as shit for you.
Totally.
If it's boring as shit for you, it's definitely boring for them. Yeah. So until you learn that, man, people, if you're just going to do that, then your clients might as well just be there by themselves. Yeah. What makes you different? What makes your workout special? And James, for you, what's helped you keep it fresh over the years?
I mean, I'm going back to the kettlebells. I've always loved kettlebell training. I mean, I remember my first kettlebell session. I was a strong young lad and used to bench pressing 100 kilos, and I went to a kettlebell class and he gave me like some fucking 16 kilo kettlebell, and I was like, you taking the piss? I'm going to smash this workout. And then, you know what it's like, 5 minutes in, I'm on my ass and seeing stars. So I just thought, like, this is the way forward. So I trained the hardstyle kettlebell, but then I got into kettlebell sport.
Kettlebell sport? I've never heard of that.
Okay, so you use two kettlebells at the same time, and you basically do clean and press for 10 minutes, and you can't put the kettlebells down.
Okay.
So I competed in that last year, and I won the UK title.
Oh, wow.
But I've really adapted that to how I work Total Rebuild now. I use double kettlebells for everything, which has given me a really good niche.
Yeah,
so
definitely. I don't know anybody here that's doing that. So for anybody that's in Australia listening to this, steal his idea.
Yeah, so like double kettlebell complex. I sort of, when people say what's Total Rebuild, I kind of say it's CrossFit without a barbell.
That's a good way to describe it for sure.
So yeah, I do CrossFit workouts, but with kettlebells, because we do the complexes, but it's with 2 kettlebells, and we'll incorporate that with like the rowing, the chin ups, and everything. I don't like slating CrossFit, but I like to feel like I try and promote everything good, and CrossFit try and get away with everything that's kind of a bit slack and bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's got a bad rep, but I mean, CrossFit's getting results at the moment. It is a big, super freaking trend everywhere.
Yeah, man. I mean, people like me, really. we wouldn't sort of probably be where we are if it wasn't for CrossFit. It's sort of paved the way for facilities like us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because you guys would be way out there if people weren't doing their workout of the days and stuff. Like, wow, that sort of work rate, what's that going to do to me? But now that it's normal, everybody's sort of doing it. It's more widely accepted. Now, James, you've done well, and every fitness professional that I know they've had a point where they've gone, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Have you? What was your point, and how did you get over it?
Points. I've had a few. I mean, I guess I think, man, the first month of opening Total Rebuild, because I went from such a high, from such excitement of, in my mind thinking this, I've got it. I've got to my gym, to then realizing it didn't mean shit. Anybody could effectively open a gym. The hard work starts when you open the door. So, at that point, that's when I was really doubting myself. I was just saying, you're sort of 15 grand in debt. You've got no money coming in. What are you going to do, James? And everything starts running through your head. I was walking into the gym and I was looking at it. I was thinking if I could sell this for that, and how much debt could I clear? But that's when, you say to yourself, well, what was the point in all of the hard work before this? Why did you get yourself to this stage to then give up? And you just suck up hard and you say to yourself, right, tomorrow I'm going to make an effort to turn this around. And you just got to have that attitude every day. Every day you have a new challenge thrown at you. Something goes wrong and something goes right. Ultimate highs and ultimate lows, but you just enjoy the journey, because if it was easy every day, then, it wouldn't be much fun, would it?
If it was easy, everybody would do it, man.
Everybody would do it, yeah,
Everybody would do it. And I just got a great quote from you. Anyone can open a gym. The work starts when you open the door. That's
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a perfect example just recently. Some guys just had, I don't know how much. His dad's bought him a unit so he doesn't have to pay rent. He's given him 50 grand to fill it with all the top equipment, but...
Well, that's cheating.
It's cheating, yeah, So, is there fulfillment in it for this guy? Is he going to get to the end of the week and think, you know what, every hour of hard work I put into that week, I feel good for now? Or is he going to get to the end of the week, and because it doesn't mean shit, and he doesn't necessarily need to make any money from it, is he going to get the same fulfillment from it?
But look, I don't know if I'm being cynical or I don't know what it is, but I find that, people that sort of get stuff handed to them, it doesn't last long.
No.
Because they haven't put the blood, sweat, and tears into building a business from scratch and being there during the bad times. They've just come in and gone, awesome, I've got a gym full of equipment now. I've got a place to be. How successful can you really be in that situation? Can people, feed off your passion for the business? With you, I would understand that people gravitate towards you now more because you're passionate about what you're doing and it's your life.
Yeah, I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate about the people that are training with me. We're not a big gym. I've probably got 60 to 70 gym members. I probably have 20 hours of PT a week. I know everybody by first name. I know everybody's life. You know, they can walk through the door. I can have a conversation with every single one of them. And I like it. You know, this is my life, and it's a lot of their lives. If I was to close the door tomorrow, I would, you know, I'd probably feel most guilty about taking that away from everybody that's part of Total Rebuild. It's become a community, you know, and I think if you're doing what we do, you don't often realize that responsibility, but you are sort of the, what shall I say? You're the ringleader for a lot of people's social sort of getaway, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, one, we become, as personal trainers, we become almost like therapists for people's problems.
Oh, yeah. Fuck
but,
yeah, tell me about
that. But then, I mean, sometimes, like, again, men and women just need somebody to talk about their problems with at the end of the day.
100%.
And if you can make them sweat while they do it, good job, right? And, I mean, I don't think people realize how much we deal in social currency. In our business relies on people. You're in the people business first.
Yeah.
And you got to keep people happy. You've got to create a space for them to be comfortable in. And man, just talking to you, I know that that's probably what your gym is like. Now, what would be best advice you could give a new trainer starting out, or anybody in the fitness space starting out?
Find what you're good at. Find what you're interested in. And get yourself out there. Don't be scared to... When I first started, it was weird. I almost sort of kept myself to myself. You know, I probably didn't promote myself as well as I should. And I suppose that's main bit of advice, really. You know, people need to know who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, and then they will decide if they want to come and train with you. And just promote yourself in the best possible way. Don't get caught up in what the fucking industry's telling you to do. There's so many snakes now. You know, I can go on my Facebook wall and there's 100+ people telling me how I should run my business, and they can guarantee me 100 new clients in a month. I mean, don't get caught up in all of that crap, because the way they make their money is from people spending money to, you know, get these answers. And there are no answers. The answer is do what you do it well. And like we just said, you know, the people that you bring into your business are your income. You need to protect that, every single one. If you first start out and you're only getting 1s and 2s peoples to your sort of group classes, you've got to keep that going. Doesn't matter, even if you're not making a great deal of money, because they're going to be the pillars that keep everything upright. You know, when everything gets busy and your name gets out there, you got to keep hold of those strong foundations that started you off, and stay humble with it. Like,
yeah, man. Look, you've been a great guest today, and your story actually reminds me of another very, very successful fitness professional, or YouTuber you can call it. Your story is very similar to Elliot Hulse.
Oh yeah, Elliot Hulse.
You know, Strength Camp. He started in a park. He started with nothing, and now he's built an empire. Yeah. So I believe that's in your future. That's where you're going to be.
Fingers
crossed. Look, you don't need it. I don't believe in luck. I believe in people that work hard and do the right thing. They generally get rewarded. Yeah, not generally. They always get rewarded in their own way. Okay, so whatever you want to achieve in the future, you're going to get. Now, in the UK, have you seen an increase in the fitness industry? Has it become more popular? What's the state of the fitness profession in the UK?
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, fitness is exploded. I mean, worldwide, I think it would be fair to say, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Like we were saying earlier, you know, CrossFit has sort of brought a lot to the table now. You know, it's really opened up this new style of intense training for results. People are more aware of the need to work hard to get what they want. So yeah, fitness is huge, but along with that, I'm not sure if you've had it in Australia, the boom in personal trainers as well.
Yeah.
So especially where I am in Plymouth, it's a big military town. So we get a lot of, fallout from military guys, and the first thing that they do is start up as a PT or as a fit pro. So the competition's probably more rife now than it's ever been.
And that is definitely the same here as well. I mean, you've got your Kellogg's box certificate trainers.
Yeah.
That's what I call them, the ones that get the certificate overnight.
Yep.
And the day before they didn't know anything, and the following day they're professionals.
Yeah.
Right. The good and bad in that is that the market gets saturated.
Certainly.
But it's easy to stand out. It's easy to be better than the next person, because there's so many mediocre, terrible trainers out there.
Well, look at me. I got turned down a job in a commercial gym. So let the commercial gym PTs work the commercial gyms. You need to go out there and you need to set yourself up, like what we just said, as a specialist. Be a specialist in your field. Do something better than anybody else. And if you're not doing it better than them at the minute, then work your ass off to get better than them at it.
Yeah, man. You can always outwork people.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
This thing.
Set your alarm for 5 a.m. Get up and work your ass off all the way through to 7 p.m.
Work your freaking ass off. Like again, you got to practice what you preach as well.
Oh, yeah, certainly. I was just thinking the same thing, man.
Yeah, with even down to this podcast, I've got interviews booked at 3 a.m. in the morning.
There you go,
guys, to make it convenient for the people I am interviewing. Now, do I like waking up at 3 in the morning? Fuck no. I would much rather be sleeping. But would I rather create something that can teach people and create value? Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Every single time I'll wake up at that time. Every single time. And, I mean, you've provided massive value. You've provided so much knowledge to, I believe, new and old PTs and fitness professionals will love, can strive off the information you've given them. Now, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the podcast, and I wish I could just keep going. We might have to have another podcast down the line.
Yeah, man, but a running series going.
get a running series. We can co-host a show. That'd be great.
Yeah,
and so, if people want to get hold of you, James, what's the best way for them to get hold of you? Where can they find your information so they can come train with you and learn?
Oh, sorry, man, I butted in then.
Nah, go for it. It's yours.
I mean, we've got the new one. We've got standoutworkoutideas.com. That's got a free download. So initially, you can help yourself to a couple of the workouts for free. So you can tell me if they're any good, and if they're shit, tell me they're shit as well, and I'll change them around.
I'm gonna go download them now.
Yeah, standoutworkoutideas.com. You got the free PDF download. If you like what you see, and if it does what it says, which I'm hoping it will, then you've got the full ebook. Failing that, just hook me up on either Total Rebuild Fitness and Strength Facebook page, or even go over to my personal page, James Bodley. It's quite good, because if you go and have a look at my personal page, you can see that I don't follow that traditional PT route. I'm into motorbikes, I'm into drinking beer, and I'm into sort of partying hard.
Live life on the edge.
Yeah, I sort of go against the grain. I've always tried to sort of promote that. I don't want to not be known as a PT, but I fucking hate PTs, if you know what I mean.
You don't want you want to be James Bodley.
I want to be me.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome, dude, awesome. And so you know where to find him. Okay, if you don't, rewind and listen to it again. But look, I'll definitely be getting you on again. I think we've got a lot more information to give. We've got a lot more stories to tell.
Yeah,
I feel we're very similar PTs. One short story before we go.
Yeah.
In terms of PTs not like fitting a certain mold, I used to work on a cruise ship, and man, we used to get blind wasted at the end of the day.
That's it,
and sleep 3 hours and then do it all again.
Take a grenade or something and then get going again.
It was crazy, but you do it for the love of it, and you still can be fit, healthy. You can still be an inspiration, but you got to have fun with it, man. Like, this industry can be so much fun, and I don't think people actually realize that.
Yeah.
Now, James, that's all we've got time for today, and I'm hoping the listeners are taking massive value from this. At the end of each podcast, I seem to do this. I don't know how to end it, so I'm just going to say goodbye. Let James say goodbye, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, catch you guys. See ya.
And that was episode 5 of the Fit Pro podcast. Listeners, if you enjoyed it, like I know you did, because I enjoy making these, head to iTunes, leave us a review, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything that's happening, and share this podcast with your friends. Okay, we've got a page on Facebook, Fit Pro Podcast. Every episode that comes out, I do put up a post just promoting it a little bit, and make sure you're sharing that to people that you think would get the most out of it. Listen to it, share it. All right. If you don't share this podcast, straight up, you don't like your friends. You just don't like them, or you don't want them to succeed, and you're just a negative person. So share this podcast. Peace.